I'm here at the Adventist Today seminar on this book, Reclaiming the Prophet, putting Ellen White in a proper context to understand her better. And it's been great discussion. There are a number of questions that the audience has asked as well. Some of the themes that have come up include the difference between inspiration and inerrancy, whether she's allowed to actually contradict herself and grow as an author, as well as a lot of the emotional baggage that many Adventists have had for generations when it comes to Ellen G. White. There were also a number of comments about how Ellen White relates to future generations.
Bailey Gillespie did his research on how many people were reading Ellen White, generations of young people, and he found that less and less were reading them every time he took his survey, and projecting that within 10 years, no one would be reading amongst the younger generation.
I thought it was time to introduce Steps to Christ that had meant so much to me when I first encountered it backpacking in Yosemite when I was 16. And I thought, this will be fun. And so we read it, went through it, and at the end they thought it sounded kind of harsh. And I was going, what? You know, clearly I was showing my age. But I have also noticed, talking with undergraduates, didn't grow up reading her books. They are very intrigued by the story of her life. And that is what pulled me into looking at Ellen White in a deeper way.
Hi, my name is Ezekiel, and I am a Master of Divinity student. I call her Auntie Ellen in a more affectionate way. It's funny to kind of see all the people here today, and there's no young people in the room, and maybe for good reason, or maybe that is demonstrative, the issue, the way that we deal with her legacy, what that means in our institution, considering her prophetic role, recognizing the complexities of it, but also still affirming what she has done for this church in that time. The beginnings of her faith were over 150 years ago. The context in which she wrote in, is very specific. And to what degree this is something that's translated to Adventism across the globe today. So I feel like maybe from that younger generational perspective, being able to meaningfully understand her writing, translate the spirit of what that is to today. Theological approach, the lifestyle recommendations. I think some degree of that intentionality in recognizing what that translation looks like can be valuable in Adventism, our contributions to the church.
The grandchildren remember what the children forget, as a lot of us were tied to our grandparents when the children, our own parents, were sort of distancing themselves. And maybe there's an entering wedge there where people could want to recover.
How do we reclaim the prophet when the way she's written, the way she's expressed herself, is becoming so dated? And I'm wondering whether, in fact, we reclaim her by recapturing the fact that she was a founder, a magnificent contribution, and that she was a real woman with mistakes and eccentricities and insights and brusqueness, and she was a builder and a founder, and we wouldn't exist without her. And I think our young people could be excited by that view of Ellen White. And I hope that's one of the purposes of the book.
I did not expect what I was walking into, but I was very pleasantly surprised at kind of the discussion and everything. Being within the M.Div program, I've had some conversations with this within class and with my classmates about Ellen White, considering the nuance of her authorship and what that means in that prophetic role. Beyond just this classroom, logical, scholarly standpoint, I am someone who comes from a context that reveres her more than what we might like. But at the same time, I've had friends or people who have experienced trauma within the church. Perhaps you could say from misuse of the way that her writings and her teachings have been co-opted by others. I think there's that kind of personal touch of coming from these spaces, understanding the deeper struggle behind this.
Overall, it was a cathartic discussion on some of the different issues that Adventists have wrestled with when it comes to this book and the history and heritage of Ellen White and the Adventist denomination.